r/TIFU fiancé demanded I take dad's restaurant, so I drained her college fund. TIFU by trusting my fiancé and learning she was only after my dad's restaurant. If you really loved me, you'd make your father sign over the restaurant. I'm staring at my fiancé Sarah across our kitchen table, coffee growing cold in my hands, wondering if I heard her correctly. We've been together 3 years. Engaged for 8 months. I thought I knew this woman. What did you just say? Sarah's perfectly manicured fingers drum against the wood. You heard me, Marcus. Your dad's getting old. He can barely keep up with the dinner rush anymore. It makes sense for you to take over now, officially. The way she says officially makes my stomach turn. My father, Dimitri, came to this country with nothing but a suitcase and a dream 32 years ago. He worked 3 jobs while learning English, saved every penny, and finally opened Dimitri's Kitchen in a rundown strip mall. Now it's the most popular family restaurant in our district, packed every night with customers who become like extended family. Dad's 63, not dead, I say carefully. And he's been training me to take over eventually. When he's ready. Eventually isn't good enough. Sarah's voice has that edge it gets when she doesn't get her way immediately. We're getting married in 6 months. I need security. I need to know our future is locked down. Our future. Like the restaurant is some kind of inheritance she's entitled to. Since when do you care about the restaurant? Last month you said the smell of garlic made you nauseous. She rolls her eyes. That's not the point. The point is, your father is sitting on a goldmine and you're too much of a pushover to claim what should be yours. The word pushover hits like a slap. I've been working at the restaurant since I was 14, learning every position from dishwasher to manager. Dad's been grooming me to take over, but on his timeline, with his blessing. The thought of strong-arming him into anything makes me sick. Sarah, that's not how our family works. Dad will hand it down when. Your family. She laughs, but there's nothing funny about it. Marcus, wake up. In 6 months, I'm your family. Your priority should be securing our future, not babying some old man who's too stubborn to see he's past his prime. I set my coffee down harder than necessary. That old man built something from nothing. He deserves respect, not to be pushed out of his own business. Respect doesn't pay for our wedding. Or the house we want. Or my master's degree. Sarah leans forward, her expression softening into what I used to think was genuine concern. Now it looks calculated. Baby, I'm not saying be cruel about it. Just, apply some pressure. Make him see it's time. The casual way she suggests manipulating my father makes my chest tight. I'm not pressuring Dad into anything. Sarah's mask slips completely. Then maybe you need to decide what's more important to you. Your daddy's feelings, or your future wife. She stands up, smoothing her designer skirt, the one I bought her last month with money I earned pulling double shifts at the restaurant. I'm going to my sister's for the weekend. When I get back, I expect you to have had that conversation with your father. Figure out where your priorities really lie, Marcus. The front door slams behind her, leaving me alone with the horrible realization that the woman I planned to marry just issued an ultimatum about the man who raised me. I had no idea this was only the beginning. 3 days of Sarah's silent treatment gives me too much time to think. I throw myself into work at the restaurant, hoping the familiar rhythm of prep, service, and cleanup will drown out the constant replay of her ultimatum. But every time I watch Dad carefully seasoning the moussaka or patiently teaching our newest server how to properly present the lamb dishes, Sarah's words echo, too stubborn to see he's past his prime. It's bullshit. Dad moves a little slower than he used to, sure, but his mind is sharp as ever. Just yesterday he caught a supplier trying to overcharge us for olive oil and negotiated a better deal in rapid-fire Greek that left the guy's head spinning. This is his domain, his kingdom, and he's nowhere near ready to abdicate. Wednesday evening, I'm balancing the register when Dad joins me in the back office, settling into his worn leather chair with a soft grunt. You've been quiet lately, Agari Mao, he says, using the Greek endearment that always makes me feel like I'm 10 years old again. Everything okay with Sarah? The concern in his voice makes my chest ache. How can I tell him that the woman he's welcomed into our family, who he's already calling his future daughter-in-law, sees him as nothing more than an obstacle to her financial security? Just wedding stress, I lie. You know how it is. Dad nods knowingly. Your mother, God rest her soul, she nearly drove me crazy planning our wedding. Changed the flowers 3 times, the menu twice. But on the day. His weathered face softens. Most beautiful day of my life. The way he talks about Mom, even 15 years after losing her to cancer, makes Sarah's coldness seem even more stark. My parents had the kind of love that built something together. Sarah just wants to take. Dad, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you ever think about retirement? Like, officially stepping back from the restaurant? Something shifts in his expression. The question clearly catches him off guard. Why do you ask? Just curious about your timeline. Your plans. Dad studies my face for a long moment. He's always been able to read me too well. Marcus, this restaurant, it's not just my business. It's my purpose. When I came here with nothing, I promised myself I'd build something lasting. Something to pass down. He gestures around the cramped office, walls covered with family photos and awards from the local business association. This is my legacy. When I'm ready, truly ready, it will be yours. But that day. He shakes his head. That day is not today. The finality in his voice makes my stomach drop. There's no scenario where I can imagine forcing this conversation, let alone demanding he sign over ownership. The whole idea feels like betrayal. My phone buzzes. Sarah. Asterisk had time to think. We need to talk when I get back tomorrow, asterisk. I stare at the message, then at my father, who's returned to reviewing supplier invoices with the same meticulous attention he's brought to everything for 3 decades. Dad, what if someone, hypothetically, wanted you to step down before you were ready? His pen stops moving. When he looks up, there's something sharp in his dark eyes. Someone like who? Just hypothetically. Marcus. His voice carries the same authority that used to make me confess to breaking dishes or skipping homework. Is there something you need to tell me? Before I can answer, my phone rings. Sarah's photo fills the screen, the one from our engagement dinner, where she's smiling at the camera instead of at me. I should have noticed that detail before. Take it, Dad says quietly. But remember, Agari Mao, family is everything. Everything else is just noise. I accept the call, knowing that whatever Sarah's about to say will force me to choose between the woman I thought I loved and the man who taught me what love actually means. Marcus. We need to discuss your conversation with your father. Please tell me you have good news. I haven't talked to him yet, I say, stepping out of the office so Dad can't hear. Sarah, I need more time to think about this. The silence on the other end stretches so long I wonder if the call dropped. When she finally speaks, her voice is ice cold. More time to think. Marcus, what exactly is there to think about? We're supposed to be partners. A team. But apparently you care more about your father's precious feelings than our entire future. I walk toward the kitchen, where Dad is now helping our head chef, Costa, prep tomorrow's specials. They're laughing about something, probably one of Costa's terrible jokes. The sight of Dad's genuine smile makes Sarah's demands feel even more poisonous. It's not that simple, I say. This restaurant is his life's work. You can't just expect him to. Oh, please. Sarah's laugh is sharp enough to cut glass. Marcus, your father is holding you back. Can't you see that? You're 26 years old, and you're still playing sous chef in Daddy's little Greek kitchen instead of building something real. This is real. We employ 12 people. We're booked solid every weekend. The restaurant grossed almost $800,000 last year. Exactly. Her voice gets excited, predatory. Do you have any idea what that property is worth? What the business could sell for? We could cash out, invest properly, maybe buy a house in Westfield instead of renting this cramped apartment. My blood runs cold. Cash out? Sarah, I thought we were talking about me taking over management, not selling. Well, obviously that's the end goal. Your father's business model is so outdated. All that family restaurant nonsense, remembering customers' names, giving away free desserts to kids. It's leaving money on the table. I can practically hear her rolling her eyes. With the right investor, we could franchise this. Turn it into something actually profitable. The casual way she dismisses everything Dad has built makes me want to throw my phone against the wall. Those customers aren't just revenue streams, Sarah. Some of them have been coming here for 20 years. Mrs. Papadakis brings her grandkids every Sunday. The Johnsons had their anniversary dinner here last month because this is where they had their first date 15 years ago. God, Marcus, listen to yourself. You sound like a greeting card. This is business, not some feel-good movie. Through the kitchen window, I watch Dad carefully arranging moussaka in the display case, the same way he's done every day for decades. Each portion perfectly portioned, garnished with the same attention to detail whether it's for a regular customer or someone walking in for the first time. Sarah, what happened to you? When we first started dating, you said you loved how close our family was. You said the restaurant felt warm and welcoming. I was being polite. The admission hits like a punch to the gut. Marcus, your family is, they're fine, I suppose. But they're small time. Your father acts like running one little restaurant makes him some kind of success story, and your aunts and uncles just enable it. It's honestly kind of pathetic. Pathetic? My voice comes out louder than intended. Dad glances over with concern. Keep your voice down, Sarah snaps. Look, I'm not trying to be cruel, but someone needs to give you a reality check. You could be so much more than this. We could be so much more. But not if you keep letting nostalgia and misplaced loyalty hold us back. Costa says something to Dad in Greek, and they both laugh again. Whatever pathetic looks like, it's not the joy on my father's face as he works in the place he built with his own hands. I need to go, I say. Marcus, wait. I'm driving back tomorrow morning. When I get home, I want to see a timeline. Figure out how we make this happen, or figure out if we have a future at all. The line goes dead, leaving me staring at my phone and wondering when exactly my fiancé turned into someone I don't recognize at all. Thursday night, I barely sleep. By Friday morning, I've made a decision that terrifies me, asterisk asterisk. I'm going to tell Dad everything. Sarah's ultimatum, her plans to sell, the way she called our family, pathetic. He deserves to know what kind of person I almost married. What kind of person I still might marry if I'm too much of a coward to face the truth. But when I get to the restaurant at 7 a.m. for our usual morning prep, Dad's not alone in the office. Uncle Stavros is there, along with our accountant, Mr. Chen, and they're all hunched over a pile of documents that makes my stomach drop. Marcus, good. Sit down. Dad's voice sounds strained. What's going on? Uncle Stavros, Dad's business partner and oldest friend, looks up with the kind of expression you wear to funerals. The Meridian Group made an offer. What group? Mr. Chen slides a thick folder across the desk. A development company. They want to buy the entire strip mall, tear it down, and build luxury condos. They're offering. He pauses, checking his notes. $2.4 million for your father's lease and business assets. The number hits me like a physical blow. $2.4 million. More money than our family has ever dreamed of. That's. I can't finish the sentence. Exactly 3 times what this place is worth, Uncle Stavros says grimly. Which means they're serious. They already bought out the dry cleaner and the nail salon. We're the last holdout. Dad hasn't said anything. He's just staring at the offer letter like it personally offended him. Dad? What are you thinking? I'm thinking, he says slowly, that money like this could change everything. I could pay off the house. Set up real college funds for your cousin's kids. Maybe even. He glances at me. Maybe even help with your wedding expenses. Sarah mentioned you two were looking at some expensive venues. The way he says Sarah's name makes my chest tight. Here he is, considering sacrificing his life's work partly to help fund my marriage to a woman who thinks he's pathetic. When do they need an answer? I ask. 30 days, Mr. Chen says. But they're not going to wait forever. And if we say no, they could make things difficult. Property taxes, building inspections, permit issues. These development companies have ways of applying pressure. My phone buzzes. Sarah, asterisk just pulled into our parking lot. Ready to hear your decision, asterisk. I have to go, I say, standing too quickly. Can we table this discussion? Dad nods, but there's something new in his eyes. A weariness I've never seen before. Marcus? That conversation you wanted to have about my retirement timeline? Maybe it's more relevant than we thought. The drive home takes 12 minutes. 12 minutes to figure out how to face Sarah knowing that she's about to get exactly what she wanted, just not the way she planned. She's waiting in our living room, still in her designer jeans and a cashmere sweater I bought her for Christmas. She looks beautiful, confident, completely sure that I've spent the last 3 days coming around to her way of thinking. So, she says, not even bothering with hello. How did your father take it? There's been a development. Her eyes light up. He's ready to sign over management. Marcus, that's wonderful. I knew you could make him see reason. Not exactly. I sit down across from her, maintaining distance. A development company wants to buy the restaurant. For $2.4 million. Sarah's mouth falls open. For a moment, she's completely silent. Then her face transforms into an expression of pure greed that makes my skin crawl. $2.4 million. Marcus, that's incredible. That's so much better than just taking over operations. When do we close? The way she says, we, like she's entitled to money my father earned before I even met her makes something snap inside me. We don't, I say quietly. This is Dad's decision. And mine. Her smile falters. What do you mean, yours and his? Marcus, we're getting married. What affects you affects me. Affects us. Does it, Sarah? Because lately it feels like the only thing that affects us is how much money you think you deserve. Sarah's face goes through several expressions before settling on cold fury. Excuse me. I think you need to check your attitude, Marcus. I've been nothing but supportive of your little family business. Supportive? I stand up, pacing to the window. Sarah, 3 days ago you called my father stubborn and past his prime. You wanted me to pressure him into signing over his restaurant. Now there's a buyout offer and you're already spending money that isn't yours. Money that will be yours, she snaps. God, Marcus, do you hear yourself? This is a gift. A chance to set us up for life, and you're acting like it's some kind of tragedy. It might be a tragedy for Dad. That restaurant is his entire identity. Sarah stands too, smoothing her sweater with sharp, angry movements. His identity? Marcus, your father is 63 years old. Most people his age are thinking about retirement, not clinging to some outdated dream about being a restaurateur forever. He's not most people. And it's not outdated, we're booked solid every night. Booked solid in a strip mall, she says dismissively. Marcus, wake up. $2.4 million is more money than that place will make in the next 5 years combined. Your father would be stupid not to take it. The way she says stupid about my father makes my hands clench into fists. Don't call him stupid. Then don't act like this is complicated. Sarah moves closer, her voice taking on that manipulative sweetness again. Baby, I know you love your dad. I know this is emotional for you. But sometimes the people we love need us to help them make the smart choice, even when it's hard. The smart choice according to who? You. According to basic math. Her voice rises. Marcus, with $2.4 million, we could buy a house. A nice house. I could finish my master's degree without worrying about student loans. We could travel, invest, actually build something for our future instead of just serving moussaka to the same boring families every night. There it is again, the dismissal of everything Dad's built, everything our family means to this community. Those boring families love coming here, Sarah. Mrs. Papadakis told me last week that bringing her grandkids to Dimitri's kitchen is the highlight of her month. The Johnsons are planning their daughter's graduation dinner here because this place is part of their family history. Sarah rolls her eyes so hard I'm surprised they don't fall out of her head. Marcus, listen to yourself. You're talking about other people's nostalgia like it's more important than our actual future. Maybe because it is. The words hang in the air between us. Sarah stares at me like I just announced I'm joining a cult. It is, she repeats slowly. Marcus, are you seriously telling me that some old lady's sentimental attachment to your father's restaurant is more important than our marriage? I'm telling you that ripping apart something Dad spent 30 years building so we can buy a bigger house feels wrong. Wrong? Sarah's laugh is sharp and ugly. You know what's wrong? Having the chance to set your family up for life and throwing it away because you're too sentimental to make the hard choice. My phone rings. Dad's number. Don't answer that, Sarah says quickly. I look at her, seeing something desperate in her eyes. Why? Because I need you to focus on this conversation. On us. Marcus, I love you, but I won't marry someone who puts everyone else's feelings ahead of his wife's security. The phone keeps ringing. Dad never calls during the day unless it's important. I have to take this, I say, accepting the call. Dad? Marcus. His voice sounds tired, older than his 63 years. Can you come in? We need to talk. All of us. There's been another development. I hang up and grab my keys, but Sarah steps in front of the door. Marcus, no. Whatever your father wants can wait 30 minutes. Her voice has that edge that used to make me cave immediately. We're in the middle of something important here. He said there's been another development. What if something's wrong? Nothing's wrong except your priorities. She crosses her arms. I'm your fiancé. I should come first, not go running every time Daddy calls. The way she says, Daddy, like it's something shameful makes my jaw clench. Move, Sarah. Not until you promise me something. Her eyes narrow. Promise me you'll encourage your father to take the buyout. Promise me you'll think about our future instead of just his feelings. I'm not promising anything until I know what's going on. Fine. She steps aside with a dramatic flourish. But when you get back, we're finishing this conversation. And Marcus? I meant what I said about figuring out your priorities. I won't wait forever. The 15-minute drive to the restaurant feels like an hour. Dad's truck is in the parking lot, along with Uncle Stavros's Honda and two cars I don't recognize. Through the front windows, I can see multiple people gathered around our biggest table, papers spread everywhere. I use my key to enter through the back. Voices carry from the dining room, Dad's, Uncle Stavros's, and at least two others I don't know. Marcus, there you are. Dad waves me over to where he's sitting across from a woman in an expensive suit and a younger man with a tablet. This is Rebecca Martinez from Meridian Group, and her associate, James. Rebecca stands, extending a manicured hand. Mr. Demetrio, pleasure to meet you. Your father's told us wonderful things about your involvement in the business. What's going on? Dad gestures to the papers covering the table. They want to expedite the timeline. Close in 2 weeks instead of 30 days. Why? James, the associate, leans forward eagerly. We've had some financing developments that make a quick close advantageous for everyone. We're prepared to increase our offer to $2.7 million for a commitment by Monday. $2.7 million. 300,000 more than this morning's already impossible number. That's a significant increase, I manage. We're motivated buyers, Rebecca says smoothly. Your father's restaurant is the keystone property for this development. Without it, we can't move forward with the entire project. Uncle Stavros catches my eye and shakes his head slightly. He looks like he hasn't slept. What kind of timeline are we talking about? I ask. Final decision by Monday, Rebecca says. Paperwork completed by Wednesday. Full closing within 2 weeks. We can have the first payment, $500,000, transferred by Tuesday if your father agrees. Dad's hands are folded on the table, but I can see the slight tremor that's been getting worse lately. The stress of this decision is already taking its toll. Can we have a few minutes? I ask. Of course. We'll wait in our car. Rebecca gathers her papers with practiced efficiency. Mr. Demetrio, I hope you understand what an extraordinary opportunity this represents. Properties like this don't typically command these kinds of offers. After they leave, the restaurant feels eerily quiet. Dad, Uncle Stavros, and I sit in the space where tomorrow night dozens of families would be sharing meals and making memories. They're not giving us much choice, Uncle Stavros says finally. What do you mean? Dad slides another document across the table. Building inspector came by this morning. Suddenly found violations that weren't there last month. New handicap accessibility requirements, kitchen ventilation upgrades, parking lot resurfacing. He points to a number at the bottom. Estimated cost, $400,000. Due within 60 days or we lose our operating license. My stomach drops. They can do that. They can if the city suddenly decides to enforce regulations that have been overlooked for 20 years, Uncle Stavros says grimly. Marcus, this isn't a coincidence. They want this property, and they're making it clear that rejecting their offer isn't really an option. Dad looks older than I've ever seen him, the weight of an impossible decision etched in the lines around his eyes. $2.7 million, minus taxes, minus paying off the building loan, it would be enough to start over somewhere else. Maybe a smaller place, or... He trails off. Or retirement, I finish quietly. I'm not ready to retire, Dad says, but there's defeat in his voice. But I might not have a choice. My phone buzzes with a text from Sarah, hope you're making the right decision. For both of us, Looking at my father's tired face, I realize Sarah's going to get exactly what she wanted. The only question is whether I'll let her. The weekend passes in a blur of impossible decisions and sleepless nights. Sarah barely speaks to me Saturday, moving around our apartment like I'm furniture she has to navigate around. When she does talk, it's pointed comments about missed opportunities and family loyalty versus common sense. By Sunday evening, I feel like I'm drowning. Monday morning arrives with all the mercy of a firing squad. The Meridian Group wants their answer by 5 p.m. Dad's been at the restaurant since dawn, probably staring at those violation notices and calculating costs we can't afford. I'm getting dressed for work when Sarah finally breaks her Cold War. I've been thinking, she says from the bathroom doorway, already impeccable in her work outfit. About us. About everything. Yeah. I love you, Marcus. But I need to know you're ready to be a husband. That means making hard choices, even when they hurt. She steps closer, her voice going soft. Your father's going to take that buyout whether you support him or not. Those building violations aren't going away. So the question is, do you want to be part of the solution, or do you want to make this harder for everyone? There's logic in what she's saying, which makes it worse somehow. Sarah, this isn't just about money for him. It's his legacy. His legacy will be the financial security he provides for his family. She adjusts my collar with gentle fingers that feel like manipulation. Marcus, with that money, we could help your cousins with college, support your aunts and uncles, maybe even help your father start something smaller and more manageable. You said you wanted to franchise the restaurant. Turn it into something actually profitable. Sarah's hands pause on my shirt. I was thinking out loud. Exploring possibilities. She looks up at me with those green eyes that used to make me forget my own name. The important thing is that we're building our future together. As partners. My phone rings. Dad again. Go, Sarah says, stepping back. But remember, I'm here for you. I'm here for us. Don't let other people make you feel guilty for choosing your wife. The restaurant feels like a funeral home when I arrive. Dad's sitting alone at table 12, the same table where Rebecca Martinez laid out their ultimatum. The violation notices are spread in front of him like tarot cards predicting disaster. Any word from the lawyer? I ask, sliding into the seat across from him. The lawyer says we can fight the violations, but it'll cost almost as much as just fixing them. And there's no guarantee we'd win. Dad's voice is hollow. They've got us, Marcus. 30 years building this place, and they've got us. The defeat in his voice makes something crack inside my chest. Dad, what if we took out a loan? Fixed the violations, kept fighting. With what collateral? The restaurant's the only asset I have, and if they want to make business impossible. He shakes his head. I won't risk losing everything just to prove a point. So you're taking their offer. Dad's quiet for a long moment, looking around at the dining room where he's served thousands of meals, celebrated countless anniversaries and birthdays, welcomed 3 generations of some families. I called Rebecca Martinez this morning, he says finally. Told her we'd have an answer by 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. That's 4 hours early. I can't do this anymore, Marcus. I can't sit here pretending there's a choice when there isn't. He looks at me with eyes that seem decades older than they did last week. But I wanted to talk to you first. This affects your future too. My phone buzzes. Sarah, asterisk whatever happens today, I'm proud of you for supporting your father. Love you, asterisk. The text feels wrong somehow, too perfectly timed. But before I can analyze it further, Dad reaches across the table and grabs my hand. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. The seriousness in his voice makes my stomach clench. Okay. Did Sarah know about this buyout before I told you Friday morning? Dad's question hits me like ice water. What do you mean? I mean exactly what I asked. His grip on my hand tightens. Marcus, I've been thinking about the timing all weekend. Sarah's been pushing you to get me to sign over the restaurant for weeks, right? Then suddenly there's a buyout offer that solves all her problems. My mouth goes dry. Dad, that doesn't make sense. How would Sarah even know about Meridian Group? I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. He releases my hand and pulls out his phone, scrolling through something. Uncle Stavros did some research this weekend. Meridian Group's been buying properties in this area for 8 months. The nail salon sold in January. The dry cleaner in March. Real estate lawyers have been talking about this development since last year. The room feels like it's tilting. Okay, but what does that have to do with Sarah? Dad turns his phone toward me. It's a LinkedIn page for someone named David Chen, not our accountant, a different Chen. David Chen, Senior Acquisitions Manager at Meridian Group. Graduated from State University in 2019. Finance major. I stare at the screen, not understanding why this matters. Then Dad scrolls down to the education section, and my blood turns to ice. Sigma Delta Phi fraternity, Dad reads aloud. Alumni network includes. He scrolls further. Marcus, what sorority was Sarah in? Sigma Delta Phi. The words come out like broken glass. Dad, that's a pretty common sorority. This could be a coincidence. Could be. Dad's voice is carefully neutral. Except I called Mrs. Papadakis this morning. Her grandson works in real estate development downtown. He says industry people have been talking about this Meridian project for months. Says anyone with connections in development or finance would have heard rumors about which properties they were targeting. The implications slam into me like a freight train. Sarah works for a financial consulting firm. She has networking events, industry contacts, alumni connections. If she'd heard even whispers about Meridian's plans. Marcus. Dad's voice is gentle but firm. I need you to think carefully. When did Sarah first start pushing you about the restaurant? I try to remember. About 6 weeks ago. Maybe 2 months. And before that? How did she feel about you eventually taking over? The memories come flooding back, and they paint a picture I don't want to see. Sarah used to be ambivalent about the restaurant, sometimes supportive, sometimes annoyed by the long hours. But she'd never cared about ownership or timelines until. She changed, I whisper. It was gradual, but she changed. Started asking more questions about the business, about Dad's retirement plans, about what taking over would mean financially. Dad nods slowly. And now, conveniently, there's a buyout offer that's 3 times what this place is worth. My phone rings. Sarah's name on the screen feels like an accusation. Answer it, Dad says quietly. But Marcus, be careful what you say. I accept the call with shaking fingers. Hey. Marcus. Sarah's voice is bright, almost giddy. How's it going with your dad? Have you guys made a decision about the offer? The casual way she brings up the offer, like it's common knowledge instead of something I only told her 3 days ago, makes my stomach lurch. Still talking through options, I say carefully. Well, don't take too long. I mean, opportunities like this don't come around often, right? And with all those building violations. She catches herself. I mean, you mentioned there were some issues with the property, didn't you? I never mentioned the violations to Sarah. They were discovered Friday morning, after our fight, and I haven't talked to her about any details since then. Dad's watching my face, and whatever he sees there makes his expression harden. Sarah, I say slowly, how did you know about building violations? The silence on the other end stretches just long enough to confirm my worst fears. What? Sarah's laugh sounds forced. Marcus, you told me about them yesterday. Or maybe Saturday. I don't remember exactly when, but you definitely mentioned something about building issues. No, I didn't. My voice is flat. Sarah, I haven't talked to you about any details since Thursday night. You've barely spoken to me all weekend. Another pause. When she speaks again, her tone has shifted, becoming defensive. Marcus, I think you're confused. We've talked about a lot of things lately. Maybe you just don't remember mentioning it. Dad is watching my face intently. I put the phone on speaker. Sarah, who is David Chen? What? I don't. Marcus, what kind of question is that? Why are you being so weird? David Chen. Sigma Delta Phi alumni. Works for Meridian Group. The silence this time is deafening. When Sarah finally speaks, her voice has gone cold. Marcus, I don't appreciate being interrogated. If you have something to ask me, just ask it. Did you know about the buyout offer before Friday? That's ridiculous. How would I possibly? That's not an answer, Sarah. Dad reaches over and gently takes the phone, switching it off speaker but holding it so we can both hear. Sarah, this is Dimitri. I think it's time we had an honest conversation. Mr. Demetrio. Her voice turns sickeningly sweet. I'm sorry, this is between Marcus and me. Can you put him back on? No, I don't think I will. Dad's voice carries an authority I haven't heard in years. You see, Sarah, I've been thinking about some interesting coincidences. Like how you suddenly became very interested in my retirement timeline right around the time Meridian started approaching other businesses in this strip mall. I have no idea what you're talking about. Or how you knew about building violations that were only discovered Friday morning, when Marcus says you two haven't discussed any details since Thursday night. This is insane. Sarah's voice rises. Are you seriously accusing me of, what exactly? Marcus, are you going to let your father talk to me like this? I look at Dad, seeing 30 years of hard-earned wisdom in his weathered face, then think about Sarah's perfectly timed pushiness, her sudden interest in the restaurant's finances, the way she dismissed our family while secretly planning to profit from Dad's life's work. Answer his questions, Sarah. Excuse me. You heard me. Did you know about Meridian's interest before Friday? Yes or no? The pause stretches so long I think she might have hung up. When she finally speaks, her voice is different, sharper, calculated, like she's deciding whether to keep lying or change tactics. Marcus, this is getting blown completely out of proportion. Yes, I heard some rumors through professional contacts. So what? That doesn't mean anything sinister. It just means I was looking out for our future, for opportunities that could benefit your family. Dad and I exchanged looks. She just admitted to lying for the past 10 minutes. What kind of professional contacts? Dad asks. That's not really your business, Mr. Demetrio. This is between. Everything about my restaurant is my business, Dad interrupts. Especially when someone's been manipulating my son to pressure me into decisions that mysteriously align with information they claim to have gotten through professional contacts. Manipulating? Sarah's voice goes shrill. I've been trying to help Marcus see an opportunity that could change his entire life. Your entire family's life. And this is how you thank me. How long have you known? I ask quietly. Marcus. How long, Sarah? Another pause. Then, about 3 months. Maybe 4. 4 months. She's been pushing me to pressure Dad for 6 weeks, which means she spent 2 months planning this approach. 2 months figuring out how to position herself to benefit from my father's forced retirement. And you didn't think to mention this to me because I knew you'd react exactly like this. Her voice cracks with frustration. Marcus, you're so emotional about that restaurant. I knew if I just told you there was a buyout possibility, you'd get all protective and defensive instead of seeing the opportunity. Dad leans back in his chair, and for the first time since Friday, he almost looks like he might smile. So you decided to manipulate him instead. I decided to help him see past his blind loyalty to what, Sarah? I ask. The words that come out of her mouth next destroy whatever was left of my feelings for her. To a stubborn old man who's too proud to admit when it's time to step aside. The silence after Sarah's words feels like the restaurant itself is holding its breath. Dad's face has gone completely still, but I can see the hurt flickering in his dark eyes before it hardens into something else entirely. A stubborn old man, he repeats quietly. Is that what you really think of me, Sarah? Mr. Demetrio, I didn't mean. No, please. Continue. Dad's voice has gone dangerously calm. I'm curious to hear more about your professional assessment of my character. I should stop this. Should hang up, protect what's left of my relationship, try to salvage something from the wreckage. Instead, I find myself saying, yeah, Sarah. Tell us what you really think. Marcus, you're twisting my words. I'm upset, I'm not thinking clearly. You sounded pretty clear to me. My hand is gripping the phone so tightly my knuckles have gone white. What else have you said about my family, Sarah? What else have you shared with your professional contacts? Nothing. God, Marcus, what kind of person do you think I am? I honestly don't know anymore. The admission hangs between us like a blade. In the background, I can hear Sarah's breathing getting faster, more panicked. She's finally realizing how badly she's miscalculated. Marcus, please. You have to understand, I was trying to protect you. Your father is 63 years old, running a business that requires 16-hour days. Those building violations alone could bankrupt you. I was trying to help you see that sometimes the universe gives you an exit strategy, and you have to be smart enough to take it. Dad reaches over and takes the phone completely, switching it back to speaker. Sarah, let me ask you something. This David Chen, your sorority connection at Meridian, did you tell him anything about our family? About Marcus? About our business operations? What? No, of course not. Because it's interesting, Dad continues, his voice still eerily calm, that Meridian's offer included very specific details about our annual revenue, our staffing costs, even our lease terms. Information that's not public record. My stomach drops. Sarah. I don't know anything about that. Maybe they did their own research. Or maybe, Dad says, someone provided them with inside information to help them structure an offer they knew we couldn't refuse. The accusation hangs in the air like smoke. I'm staring at my father, seeing a side of him I've never witnessed, not the gentleman who taught me to make perfect tzatziki or the patient mentor who spent hours showing me how to read profit margins. This is the man who came to America with nothing and built something lasting through pure determination. That's insane, Sarah says, but her voice lacks conviction. You're both being paranoid. Am I? Dad pulls out a folder I hadn't noticed before. Because I had a very interesting conversation with our insurance agent this morning. Apparently, someone called 3 weeks ago asking very specific questions about our coverage, our policy limits, even our claims history. Someone claiming to be Marcus's fiancé, saying she was helping with wedding planning and needed the information for venue insurance comparisons. My blood runs cold. Sarah, please tell me you didn't. It wasn't like that. I was just trying to understand the full financial picture. We're getting married, Marcus. I have a right to know what kind of assets and liabilities we're dealing with. You have a right to ask me, I say, my voice rising. Not to call our insurance company pretending it was for wedding planning. Oh, please. Like you would have given me straight answers. You get all weird and defensive every time I ask about business details. Dad and I stare at each other across the table. The woman I thought I loved, the woman I was planning to marry in 4 months, has been systematically gathering intelligence about our family business to share with developers who want to destroy it. Sarah, I say carefully, I need you to be completely honest with me right now. Did you share any of that information with David Chen or anyone else at Meridian? The pause is so long I can count my heartbeats. When she finally answers, her voice is small and defensive. I might have mentioned some general details. Nothing specific. Just context. Context for what? For whether the property was worth pursuing. Marcus, you have to understand, David reached out to me after he saw my LinkedIn profile. We got to talking about the development, and when I mentioned you worked at a restaurant in their target area, he got interested. I was just trying to help. Dad's face has gone ashen. Help who, Sarah? Help us, or help Meridian Group structure a takeover bid? Both. It was supposed to benefit everyone. Everyone except the man whose life's work you've been systematically undermining for months. The phone goes dead silent. For a moment, I think Sarah hung up, but then I hear something that makes my skin crawl. She's crying. Not the gentle tears of someone who's genuinely sorry, but the harsh, angry sobs of someone who's been caught and knows it. You want to know the truth? Her voice comes back shaky but defiant. Fine. Yes, I helped David understand the situation. Yes, I thought it would be better for everyone if your father took the buyout instead of running himself into the ground trying to keep up with a business that's clearly too much for him. Dad's hands clench into fists on the table. I've never seen him look so betrayed. But Marcus, Sarah continues, her voice getting stronger, more manipulative. Think about what this means for us. $2.7 million. We could buy a house, start fresh somewhere new, maybe even start our own business. Something modern, something that doesn't require you to spend every waking moment in a kitchen that smells like. Stop. The word comes out harder than I intended. Just stop talking. Marcus, please. No. I stand up, pacing to the window that overlooks our parking lot. The same parking lot where Sarah and I used to sit in my car after closing, making plans for our future. Plans that apparently included destroying my father's dreams. I trusted you. I brought you into our family, and you've been working against us this entire time. I wasn't working against you. I was working for us. By lying to me for months. By gathering information about our business to share with developers. By calling me a pushover and my father stubborn. My voice cracks. Sarah, do you have any idea what you've done? Dad stands too, moving to stand beside me. His presence is solid, grounding, everything Sarah's isn't. I'll tell you what she's done, Dad says quietly. She's shown us exactly who she is before it was too late. Mr. Demetrio, please. No, Sarah. I'm done being polite. Dad's voice carries 30 years of authority. You manipulated my son. You violated our privacy. You conspired with people who want to destroy something I've spent my entire adult life building. And you did it all while sitting at my table, eating my food, pretending to care about our family. I can hear Sarah hyperventilating through the phone. Marcus, you can't let him talk to me like this. We're supposed to be getting married. The words hit me like a slap of cold air. Married. 4 months from now, I'm supposed to stand in front of our friends and family and promise to love, honor, and cherish this woman who spent the last 4 months systematically betraying everything I care about. Are we, Sarah? I ask quietly. Are we really supposed to get married? What kind of question is that? Of course we are. Marcus, I love you. Everything I did for us, for our future together. You did it for money. The words taste bitter. You saw an opportunity to cash in on my family's hard work, and you took it. That's not fair. Isn't it? I turn away from the window, looking at Dad. He's watching me with an expression I can't quite read, proud, maybe, but also sad. Like he's watching me grow up in real time. Sarah, answer me honestly. If there was no buyout offer, if Meridian Group had never contacted your fraternity brother, would you still be pushing me to take over the restaurant? The pause tells me everything I need to know. That's not a fair hypothetical. It's a simple question. Marcus, you're not thinking clearly. You're letting your emotions. My emotions? Something snaps inside me. Sarah, my emotions are the only honest thing in this conversation. My love for my father, my respect for what he's built, my belief that family means more than profit margins, those aren't weaknesses to be managed. They're the foundation of who I am. And who you are isn't enough. The words explode out of her like she's been holding them back for months. Marcus, you're 26 years old, and you're still playing second fiddle in your daddy's restaurant instead of building something real for yourself. For us. The silence that follows feels like the world ending. Dad's face goes completely white. In 32 years of knowing him, I've never seen him look so devastated. The words, playing second fiddle in your daddy's restaurant, hang in the air like poison gas. Sarah, I whisper, what did you just say? She seems to realize she's crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. Marcus, I didn't mean. You absolutely meant it. My voice is steady now, ice cold with clarity. This is what you really think of me. Of us. Dad reaches over and gently takes the phone from my hands. When he speaks, his voice is quiet but carries the weight of absolute finality. Sarah, this is Dimitri. I want you to listen very carefully. He pauses, and I can hear her ragged breathing through the speaker. My son has spent 12 years learning every aspect of this business. He can prep a full Greek menu for 200 people, balance books that would make your finance degree weep, and manage a staff that treats him like family because he's earned their respect. Mr. Demetrio. I'm not finished. The authority in his voice could cut steel. What Marcus does isn't playing second fiddle. It's preparing to inherit something meaningful. Something built with honor and love and sacrifice, concepts that seem foreign to you. Through the phone, I hear Sarah start crying again, but now it sounds calculated, manipulative. Please, you have to understand. I love Marcus. I just want what's best for him. No, I say, taking the phone back. You want what's best for you. That's the same thing. We're supposed to be a team. Teams don't lie to each other for months. Teams don't gather intelligence for hostile takeovers. Teams don't call each other's life work meaningless. My phone starts buzzing with text messages. Sarah's sending them while we're still on the call, and I can see the notifications lighting up the screen. Desperate, probably. The kind of messages someone sends when they realize they've destroyed everything. Marcus, please. Come home. Let's talk about this face to face. I can explain everything properly. Something about her tone sets off alarm bells. Too eager, too urgent. Like she's planning something. Sarah, are you at our apartment right now? Yes, I came home from work early to wait for you. Marcus, there are things I need to show you. Documents that will help explain why I was trying to protect us. Dad and I lock eyes. Documents? What kind of documents? Dad asks. Financial projections, market analyses, proof that the buyout really is the best option for everyone. I had David run some numbers. My stomach drops. You had David Chin analyze our business. Just preliminary assessments. Nothing official. Marcus, if you could see the actual financial data, you'd understand why I was so worried about your father trying to keep the restaurant going. Dad stands up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. Marcus, we need to go. Now. Why? Because if she has detailed financial analyses from Meridian Group, that means this goes deeper than inside information. His face is grim. That means they've been planning this takeover for months, and she's been their inside source the entire time. Through the phone, Sarah's voice goes sharp. You're being paranoid. I'm trying to help. Help us right into bankruptcy, Dad mutters, grabbing his keys. Marcus, think about it. Mysterious building violations that appear the same week as an increased buyout offer. Financial analyses of our business. She's not just connected to their acquisition team, she's part of it. The realization hits me like a sledgehammer. This isn't just about Sarah hearing rumors and getting greedy. This is about her actively participating in a coordinated effort to force us out. Sarah, I say into the phone, I'm coming home. Don't touch anything in the apartment. Don't move any papers, don't make any phone calls. We need to see everything. Of course. Marcus, I'm so glad you're being reasonable about this. The relief in her voice confirms my worst fears. She thinks she's won. She thinks I'm coming home to be convinced by whatever evidence she's prepared. Dad grabs my arm as we head toward the door. Son, are you ready for this? Because whatever we find in that apartment, there's no going back. I look around the restaurant one more time, at the family photos on the walls, the tables where generations of customers have celebrated life's important moments, the kitchen where Dad taught me that work done with love is never just work. Yeah, Dad. I'm ready. But as we walk toward the car, I realize I'm not ready at all. Because I'm about to discover just how deep Sarah's betrayal goes, and something tells me what we find is going to change everything. The drive to my apartment takes 8 minutes. 8 minutes for my entire world to rearrange itself into something unrecognizable, asterisk asterisk. Dad follows me in his truck, and I can see him in my rearview mirror, gripping the steering wheel with the same intensity he brings to everything important. We're about to walk into whatever trap Sarah's prepared, and I have no idea what we'll find. Sarah's car is in our assigned spot, along with a sleek black BMW I don't recognize. The sight of it makes my stomach clench. More professional contacts, probably. I text Dad, asterisk unknown car here. Black BMW, asterisk. His response comes immediately, asterisk be careful. Stay alert, asterisk. The apartment building feels different as I climb the stairs to the 3rd floor. Like I'm seeing it for the first time, the peeling paint on the hallway walls, the thin carpeting Sarah always complained about, the distant sound of Mrs. Chen's television through apartment 3B. Everything the same, but I'm not the same person who left here this morning. I unlock our door and step inside, immediately noticing voices coming from the kitchen. Sarah's, and a man's voice I don't recognize. They stop talking the moment they hear my key. Marcus. Sarah appears in the kitchen doorway, looking perfectly composed except for her red-rimmed eyes. Behind her, I can see a tall man in an expensive suit closing a laptop and gathering papers. I'm so glad you came home. Who's your friend? I ask, not moving from the entryway. The man steps forward with a practiced smile, extending his hand. David Chen, Meridian Group. Sarah's told me so much about you. I don't shake his hand. I'm sure she has. David's smile falters slightly. I hope you don't mind me being here. Sarah thought it might be helpful if I explained our development plans directly, answered any questions you might have about the transition process. Transition process. I repeat the word slowly. Interesting choice of words. Dad appears behind me, and David's expression shifts to something more cautious. 3 against 1 now, and the power dynamic in the room changes completely. Mr. Demetrio, David says with forced politeness. Thank you for considering our offer. I know this must be a difficult decision. Dad doesn't respond, just looks around our living room with sharp eyes, taking inventory. I follow his gaze and notice things I missed at first glance, documents spread across our coffee table, Sarah's laptop open to what looks like financial spreadsheets, a bottle of champagne on the kitchen counter like they were celebrating something. Were you two having a party? I ask. Sarah flushes. Marcus, don't be like that. David just wanted to show us some projections about what we could do with the buyout money. Investment opportunities, property options. Dad's voice is deadly quiet. Sarah, last I checked, that buyout money belongs to my family. Not yours. David steps smoothly between them, clearly trying to defuse the tension. Mr. Demetrio, obviously the financial decisions are entirely yours. Sarah was just helping us understand what might motivate a quick resolution to this process. What might motivate us, I repeat slowly. You mean what pressure points we're most vulnerable to? That's not how I'd phrase it. How would you phrase it, David? Dad moves further into the room, and his presence makes the space feel smaller, more charged. Because from where I stand, it looks like you've been using my future daughter-in-law to gather intelligence about my business so you could structure a hostile takeover. Sarah's composure finally cracks. It's not hostile. Marcus, show them the projections. David's team ran the numbers. With the building violations and the market trends, you'll be lucky to break even if you try to keep operating. Dad and I exchange glances. She's still pushing the same narrative, even with all her lies exposed. Show us these projections, I say. David hesitates, glancing at Sarah like he's asking permission. The look that passes between them makes my skin crawl. They have a partnership here that goes way beyond casual networking. Of course. David opens his laptop, and suddenly our coffee table becomes a presentation space. Based on the financial information we've gathered. The phrase, financial information we've gathered, hits me like ice water. Not publicly available data or industry estimates. Information they've gathered. With Sarah's help. And that's when I realize this goes deeper than I thought. Sarah hasn't just been feeding them intelligence, she's been actively collaborating with them to engineer our destruction. The question is, how long has this been going on, and what else don't I know? David's laptop screen fills with spreadsheets that make my blood run cold. Detailed financial projections, customer demographic breakdowns, even photos of our kitchen layout and dining room capacity. Information that could only come from someone with intimate access to our operations. Where did you get these photos? Dad asks, his voice deadly calm. Sarah shifts uncomfortably. Marcus, you know I've helped with inventory sometimes, taken pictures for social media posts. These aren't social media photos. I lean closer to the screen, recognizing angles and details that make my stomach churn. These are surveillance photos. Professional documentation. David tries to minimize the screen, but Dad's hand slams down on the table. Leave it open. The next slide shows a timeline. Project Genesis, Dimitri's kitchen acquisition, stretches back 8 months. 8 months of planning, with detailed entries tracking everything from our busy seasons to staff turnover rates. And Sarah's name appears as a contact source starting 4 months ago. 4 months, I whisper. Sarah, we've been engaged for 8 months, and you've been feeding them information for half of that time. Marcus, it's not what it looks like. Then what is it? Dad's voice could cut glass. Because this timeline shows you've been documenting our business operations since before you even started pushing Marcus to get me to retire. David clears his throat nervously. Perhaps we should focus on the future opportunities rather than. Shut up. The words come out of me with surprising force. David, I want you to pack up your laptop and get out of my apartment. Now. Marcus, wait. Sarah moves between us, her voice taking on that manipulative sweetness again. Just look at the investment projections. Look at what we could build together. She's still saying we like she's entitled to any of this. Like she hasn't just admitted to 4 months of systematic betrayal. There is no we, Sarah. I grab the papers scattered across our coffee table, scanning them quickly. Property appraisals, demographic studies, even a competitive analysis comparing Dad's restaurant to chain establishments. This is industrial espionage. That's a dramatic way to put it, David says, but sweat is beading on his forehead. Dad picks up a document I hadn't noticed, his face going white as he reads. Marcus, look at this. It's a memo dated 3 weeks ago, marked, confidential, internal use only. The header reads, Acceleration Strategy, Dimitri's Kitchen, and the content makes my hands shake. Asterisk property compliance issues identified and reported to city planning. Estimated timeline for violations notice, 7 to 10 business days. Financial pressure will require quick decision on buyout offer. Recommend increasing offer to 2.7 M to ensure acceptance and prevent legal challenges, asterisk. They orchestrated the building violations, I whisper. Sarah's face goes sheet white. That's not. David, you said those were legitimate issues. They are legitimate issues, David says quickly, but his voice lacks conviction. We just helped the city identify them more efficiently. Dad's hands are trembling with rage. You manufactured a crisis to force me out of my own business. We expedited existing problems. You destroyed a man's life. I'm shouting now, months of suppressed anger exploding. This isn't business strategy, it's extortion. Sarah grabs my arm desperately. Marcus, please, just listen. Even if their methods were aggressive, the outcome is still good for everyone. Your father gets financial security, we get our future. I shake her off like she's toxic. Our future. Sarah, you've been lying to me for months while helping strangers destroy everything my family has worked for. What future could we possibly have? Because I love you. She's crying again, but now it looks pathetic instead of sympathetic. Everything I did because I love you and I want us to have the best life possible. By betraying my father. By saving you from a sinking ship. Her composure finally shatters completely. Marcus, that restaurant is a dead end. Your father's too old, the neighborhood's changing, and you're too loyal to see that you're wasting your life on something that will never make you really successful. The words hang in the air like a grenade that just went off. Dad steps forward, his voice eerily quiet. Sarah, I think it's time you told us exactly how much Meridian Group has been paying you for your services. The question hits like lightning. Sarah's face goes from desperate to terrified in the span of a heartbeat. Paying me? That's ridiculous. I wasn't paid anything. But David's expression tells a different story entirely. Dad's question hangs in the air, and I watch David's face cycle through about 6 different expressions before settling on panic. That tells me everything I need to know. David, I say quietly, how much did you pay my fiancé? We didn't, it wasn't a payment, exactly. More of a consulting fee. How much? Dad's voice could freeze hell over. David's shoulders sag in defeat. 15,000. With a promised bonus of 50,000 more when the deal closed. The number hits me like a physical blow. $65,000. Sarah sold out my family, destroyed my father's dreams, and manipulated me for months for $65,000. I turn to look at her, and she's backing toward the kitchen like a cornered animal. Marcus, let me explain. $65,000. I'm surprised my voice comes out so steady. Sarah, we have almost $40,000 in our joint savings account. Money I earned working at the restaurant you've been helping them destroy. You betrayed my family for about 2 months of your salary. It's not about the money. Everything with you is about the money. The words explode out of me. Our entire relationship has been about money. The expensive dinners, the designer clothes I couldn't afford, the wedding venue that costs more than most people make in a year, all of it funded by the restaurant you've been systematically undermining. Sarah's crying harder now, but I feel nothing. No sympathy, no regret, just a cold clarity about what needs to happen next. David, get out. Now. And if I see you anywhere near our restaurant or my family again, I'll make sure every food blogger and local news station knows exactly how Meridian Group operates. He's already packing his laptop. Mr. Demetrio, Marcus, I hope you'll reconsider our offer. The offer's off the table, Dad says firmly. We'll fight the building violations in court if we have to. We'll take out loans, mortgage everything we own, but we won't be extorted by people like you. After David leaves, the apartment feels toxic, contaminated by months of lies and manipulation. Sarah's standing in our kitchen doorway, still crying, probably calculating her next move. Marcus, please. I know I made mistakes, but we can fix this. We can still. Sarah, stop. I walk to our bedroom and pull out my laptop, logging into our joint bank account. I'm transferring our savings to my personal account. All of it. You can't do that. It's mostly my money anyway. Money I earned at the restaurant while you were plotting against it. My fingers move across the keyboard with steady purpose. Consider it compensation for the last 4 months of emotional terrorism. That's not fair. Marcus, half that money was supposed to pay for my master's degree. I pause, looking at her with something approaching pity. Sarah, you just admitted to taking $65,000 to destroy my family. Your master's degree is the least of your problems right now. The transfer goes through. $38,412. Every penny we've saved for our future, our wedding, her education. Money that came from countless double shifts at Dad's restaurant while she smiled to my face and stabbed us in the back. You should pack, I say quietly. I want you out by tonight. Where am I supposed to go? Call David. I'm sure Meridian Group takes care of their assets. Dad appears in the doorway, car keys in hand. Marcus, ready to go. We have a restaurant to save. I look around the apartment one last time, at the engagement photos on our bookshelf, at the wedding planning binder stacked on Sarah's desk, at the life I thought I wanted with someone who never actually existed. Yeah, Dad. Let's go home. As we leave Sarah crying in the wreckage of her own making, I realize something important. I'm not losing my future. I'm reclaiming it. And this time, I'm building it with people who actually love me back. Update asterisk. 6 months later, Dimitri's kitchen is busier than ever. We fought the building violations and won, used the savings to renovate and expand, and somehow the whole ordeal brought our community closer together. Mrs. Papadakis started a crowdfunding campaign that raised $20,000 in 2 weeks. The Johnsons brought their entire extended family for a solidarity dinner that turned into a monthly tradition. Sarah tried to contact me twice. Both times, I deleted her messages without reading them. Dad's talking about finally teaching me the secret to his moussaka recipe. Says I've earned it. Sometimes the best thing someone can do for your future is show you exactly who they really are.